Welcome to Failing Forward. This show is all about the other side of success. We talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators who aren't afraid to share the mistakes they've made. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, it's this. Every setback is just a setup for something bigger, if you're willing to learn from it. First episode of 2026, bringing in the new year the right way. Today we've got with us someone who has become a local celebrity on multiple occasions, has been a constant in this community for many, many years, with the news station for 2 decades, and now has been leading the United Way to do some really, really special things in our community. So I'm really excited to have our buddy Bob Hannon joining us today on the Failing Forward podcast.
Tim, Will, good to be here. Some of the people you've had on, I better try to raise that bar because
I think you'll be fine.
Those guys are good. You've done a great job. Well, congratulations. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
And it's been something that we were passionate about when we first started because we wanted to shine a light on the things that have been great in this community, and the whole premise of our company as we've grown has been, really putting our arms around the idea of accepting failures and learning from them and making our company better, making our community better, making the place that we love and care about and we're passionate about better and better every day. And I know that's been something that is easy to talk to you about because you've been in it. You've been doing those things, whether it was in broadcasting, whether it's been at the United Way. So one of the cool parts about this is that we get to kind of re-educate people about our guests because a lot of people see Bob Hannon today at United Way and all the things that you do there, and they don't necessarily know all the things that happened leading up to this point. So we kind of take a step back through a bit of your origin story. Newcastle guy. Yeah. Shout out to our friends at Mangino's Pizza.
First of all, I'm a big pizza guy. I eat pizza 4 or 5 days a week.
Oh, I love it.
So when you invited me over Christmas for the pizza gig, that was the best. Okay, and I want to go on that show, and he said, "You're gonna have me on." So,
that's amazing.
Like when they want pizza at the office, they go, "Well, what's the number to Wedgwood? What's the number to Cornersburg?" I can tell you right off the top. No, I can't. Wedgwood 7262010. Okay, I'm not kidding you.
Yep.
So
that one I know.
So
I love it.
You mentioned Mangino's in Newcastle.
Yeah,
one of the best.
We're
Not just the pizza.
I've never had
salad. There's a couple others over there too. Now we're going off on a tangent here, but there's a couple other really good ones. But Mangino's is right there with all the great Youngstown pizza.
It's very good. Yeah. Okay. Chelsea Mangino, the daughter of the family that started it, worked for us for a while. She worked on our payroll team. And then she decided to go back and help the family business. And she was an awesome person. She was great to work with. It was just that family business that they care about it. They're involved in the community. They're entrenched in the community. And the pizza is
started in Mahoning Town, real small in Newcastle. Little part of now they have one in the Shannick Township, and Tim, I think they have one in Naples.
Yes,
they did,
yes.
and they still may have one in Naples.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So little mom pop, like probably as big as this counter they started at. Really,
That's amazing.
And it's grown, and it's family. It's great product, fair price, and they do it the right way.
A road trip to Newcastle.
That's right.
Here.
Yeah, just a few steps across the border.
Not far.
And it's funny, as I'm going through and doing some of the reading of, the early years, Bob, of your career, and to me, there's a lot of things that stuck out. Like you were synonymous to me with YSU football. You've always been, I think about YSU football and I hear Bob Hannon. It's like Jim Nance and the Masters.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like
it's true though.
There's a connection there that when you're hearing it, you're just used to certain voices being present. And I grew up in the 90s. And I'm a 90s kid, and I would go to the YSU football games with our men's club at St. James Church. And it was the one time of the year where, all these guys would go and I'm this little kid and I'd go along with them. And it was those great years of those 90s championships. And everything was just so much bigger than the life that we, were accustomed to in Youngstown. To be a part of that was cool. And those are core memories that I still remember today. But let's go all the way back. So born and raised in Newcastle, one of five.
Five, yeah.
So four boys, one girl.
4 boys, 1 girl. Grew up on the east side of Newcastle. tough neighborhoods, good kids. I tell my kids, sounds old. We never locked our doors. We played till midnight. And, it's just a different. No cell phones, really, Dad. There were no cell phones.
A better time.
Always played sports involved, and I knew I wouldn't be good enough to play at any kind of higher level, college or pro. I wanted to always be a broadcaster from the time I was 10 years old.
And you were like practicing on like Pirates and
you did
Steelers
your
games,
homework. So
doing
I'd be like
some commentary, right?
12 years old doing that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it. I wanted to get involved. I knew all the players and names and was doing, play-by-play and, listening to radio, trying to emulate. Then it was Bob Prince, a legendary voice of the Pirates. And then I got to know Lanny Fratteri, who was with the Pirates for 20-some years. So my first job, I was 19. I was working at WKST radio. And then it's in Newcastle. You did it all. I was a DJ. You read obituaries. And I'd butcher those names. And they'd call, my grandma died. You got her name wrong. So, you do the news. You do sports. I mean, I wanted to do, but you had to be a DJ. So I'd work 4 to midnight, 4 to 6. I would spin records. And, we had records then. And then I'd do a sports talk show, 6 to 8. And then back to music, or we'd carry the Pirates or whatever. So I was lucky to get involved and start doing play-by-play. Always did things the hard way. Then I moved to Atlantic City. But I didn't get my degree right away. I went back and got my degree while I was working at Channel 33 in communications.
At White
At Slippery Rock.
Oh, it's
So I was living in Newcastle, so it was easy. And also the tuition then, they didn't have that reciprocal.
Yeah, the
so I'd go to
in-state versus
Rock
out-of-state.
during the day and worked 3 to midnight at 33 and went to school in the summer to get the degree in 2.5 years. And at that time, my son was 2, and I'm like, looking back, I'm not sure, how I found the time. But when I first started, Tim, as sports director at Channel 33, I was hired in November of 88. 2 months in, I was working weekends. They fired the sports director and give me the job.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And
Talk about being thrown in.
Yeah, and I felt like I knew enough about sports, but I wasn't sure I knew enough about TV and writing a story and scripting. And I had a good boss, Tom Mock, news director, and gave me an opportunity. And shortly thereafter, Youngstown State's looking for a play-by-play guy.
Yep.
And Greg Gold, sports information director. I go, Greg, I did a lot of high school, but no college. He goes, well, we've not had continuity. We've been through a lot of guys. We want to get someone who's going to be here. So a little cassette tape, Newcastle Aliquippa, great game.
Yeah.
I was a kid doing the game. So gave it to Greg, Joe Malmaser, AD, Jim Tressel, listened to it, called me, said, I think you got some potential. I couldn't believe it.
What year was that? How long
It was
ago?
1989. Wow. This past season was my 37th year.
It's amazing.
The best part, I started in 89. We make the playoffs. So I got in right on the ground floor with Jim Tressel.
Yep.
Part of the championships. And, Tim, you talked about Youngstown. Like, I liked anchoring 6 and 11, but, like, I love play-by-play. Mm-hmm. And that's my favorite aspect of broadcasting. So I'm lucky that even though I moved to United Way, Youngstown State still lets me broadcast the games. And it's worked out. And
I can think of a lot of memorable YSU games over that stretch. Mm-hmm. So it's, from what I read, it was over 400 games.
Yes.
That you've covered. 91 Marshall.
Yes.
Does that take the cake as the most memorable
that's
game?
That's a great question. If I had to pick one, 91 was a great year. Okay, but the game in 91 that stands out to me. So let's back up. In 1989, we'd get blown out second round by Furman. Okay, in 89, 90, people forget we're 11-0. Everybody thinks Jim Tressel won every close game. We're hosting Central Florida. We're supposed to beat them. We lose 20-17. We had 11-1. Devastating loss. So 91, we're on the verge of losing round 1 to Villanova. We're down 17-16. We have a 4th and 10 at our own end. And 3 years in a row, we're going to be out early.
Yeah.
Herb Williams caught this miraculous pass. It was tipped from Ray Isaac. Wilkins kicks a field goal. We win 19-17 and go on to win the national championship.
Yeah.
So that Villanova game,
I got chills, Bob.
Yeah.
triggered it all.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one game, and it's hard, 1994 Alcorn State.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That McNair days.
Yeah.
So McNair, is playing. Then it's 1AA, right?
Yep.
He was 4th in the Heisman.
Yeah.
So back
At
then,
Alcorn State.
Yeah,
so back
yeah.
then, our games weren't televised nationally except for the championship on ESPN, right?
Yep.
So ESPN's coming in. It's the Friday after Thanksgiving to televise Alcorn State and YSU. But they're coming because of McNair.
Yeah.
I remember Tressel, saying to the team before the game, I wasn't in the locker room, I was told after, they're coming to see McNair. They're going to leave here talking about us.
Hell yeah.
So I remember. So it's not even bitterly cold. It's Thanksgiving Day. Alcorn's landing at the airport. So I'm there to go interview McNair. He gets off with this big fur coat. I'm like, they're in trouble. 'Cause it's 40 degrees.
Yep.
Okay, this isn't even the ice castle. We
Yeah.
wanted it to be the ice castle. First play, we sack him, he fumbles. We beat him like 63-20, maybe 63-21. He threw for a lot of yards. But that, and Tim, everywhere I go when I talk about that, I was there. There wasn't 100,000 people there, but 100,000, it was packed.
Yeah.
So to me, if I had to pick one, it's hard. The 94, because we beat Alcorn. We went on to win the championship. I think that was our best team. We went 14-0-1. We tied the first game of the year and went on to win 14 straight. We beat Boise 28-14 in the championship. So I would Marshall 91 winning the first championship special, right?
Yep.
We came from behind. We were down 19-6, came back to win 25-19 to beat Marshall. But Alcorn, if I had to pick one, Alcorn would be my favorite.
Yeah.
And I mean,
So
there's no better story about failing forward than that, right? Is that, you were coming to the playoffs, you were killing it, you haven't lost to anybody, and then you get smoked, and then you're on the verge of getting smoked again early, getting bounced in the early rounds of the playoffs, and he figured it out.
Yeah.
And
People
then,
are like, is this Tressel guy ever going to win a playoff game? And
Yeah.
he did beat Eastern Kentucky. And then 91 sort of was the catalyst. That when we beat Villanova, and then we win it, lose the championship in 92, win it in 93, win it in 94. But, so many, like 92, we're in the championship game. We're down 28-0 to Marshall. We come back and tie it at 28. Nick Cochran went off. And then they beat us 31-28 and beat them in 93. And we thought we were going to play them again in 94, but Boise upset Marshall, and we ended up playing Boise. But those teams were, when I'll say I think the 94 team's the best, and I'll hear from the 91, the 92. Like the 92, you've lost, so you don't count. Okay,
Yep.
That team in 94, ironically, Mark Brungard was the quarterback.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we had a running back, Sean Patton, who was absolute. Unbelievable. The defense was really good. And I thought that was the best YSU football team.
And what year did Tressel end up leaving?
Tressel left after 2000. So Tressel's last game, playoffs, first round at Richmond. We thought the game was going to be here. It rained so hard, water in the broadcast booth was up to my ankles.
Water in the broadcast booth?
It's an old beat-up facility, Tim. And I'm like, we're going to get electrocuted. We're probably going to die. It's a 3-3 game.
Oh, no.
Late, because it was pouring and windy.
Yeah.
And we threw a pick six. So Tressel loses 10-3, right? So we come back. We do our last TV show. And who knows, right? He goes, Bob, we're really young. We're going to be really good next year. And he didn't say, I think we win a national title next year again.
Yeah.
Ironically, he leaves, goes to Ohio State. We had a good year. We went 8-3, lost to Marshall, probably got, screwed out of a playoff berth. Then there were only 16 teams. But Tressel's last game here lost 10-3 to Richmond in probably the worst rainstorm I've ever called a game in. Yeah. How about that?
So, I mean, having that much exposure to somebody like Tressel, I mean, it's hard to even know what to call Jim Tressel anymore. He's president,
I know.
coach,
I always call him
lieutenant
coach,
governor,
right?
you know.
Yeah.
But he's a remarkable human being. I mean, I've had the pleasure of interacting with him and his wife Ellen over the years, and he doesn't forget a lot. I mean, his ability to recall people and events in a very specific manner is unique. Like, the only thing that I can compare it to is like the way that LeBron remembers games. He can recite every part of that game that has happened, every shot that was taken, every play that didn't work. So I'm sure along the way there's been some lessons that you've learned from Tress.
Well,
watching.
yeah, his leadership ability has certainly helped me at United Way, and the way he handles people, the way he treats people. Tim's right. If he meets you, he's going to remember your name. Meet you once, he's going to remember your name if he sees you again.
Yep.
I heard a story that he met a young woman at a YSU basketball game several years ago who was thinking about going to OU and found out her name, wrote her a letter. If you change your mind, be a Penguin.
Yeah.
And she became a Penguin. She's like, I just met this
Yeah.
guy, Organized, attention to detail, treats people the right way. He just gets it, and when I was started United Way, I remember when I was early on with hiring, I really didn't hire people at Channel 3. I had a sportscaster on the weekends.
It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, now I'm hiring, and he goes,
100%.
coach them up or coach them out.
Yep.
That's all I can tell you.
Yep.
And you got to get people that believe in your philosophy, not in someone else's.
Yep.
However you believe. Because I had a lot of good coaches at Ohio State that didn't fit here, fit somewhere else.
Yep.
And I helped them. I had to get them out. So it helped me in that way.
Yeah.
He's just been one of the most influential people in my life. I share one other one I think is a good story. So when we would go back after games, he would come and do the coaches show after. So my son, who's now 38, grew up on YSU football and got to know Coach Tressel. So in like 2005, my son's a freshman at Westminster playing basketball. This is in the middle of Ohio State's football season. He said, how's Craig doing? I go, he's not getting it yet. He's not going to class. He was on the bench the first game. He didn't play. He's just not doing the right things. A week later, Craig says, Dad, why'd you have to tell Coach Tressel about it? Coach got his email, reached out to him and said, you got to turn this around, Craig.
Really?
Like, I didn't give him the email. I didn't, and that's just Jim Tressel. And Craig turned it around, had a great career at Westminster playing basketball. But Jim remembers people, doesn't forget. I have so many Jim Tressel stories that are just unbelievable. Can I give you one more that I think is one of the best?
Yeah.
2002, they're getting ready to play for the national championship against Miami, right? So I had a general manager that wasn't a sports guy. It was all money. So I'm like, we have to go to Arizona for a week, cover Ohio State, Miami, photographer and me. Oh, it's going to cost a lot of money. I said, how much? I said, $7,000, $8,000. I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do an hour TV special. Half-hour one-on-one interview with Jim Tressel. The second half hour, we'll call Bob and the boys roundtable with Columbus Media. So my photographer's with me. We walk out. The general manager goes, done. I'll make $12,000 on the show.
Yeah.
Cost $8,000. We'll net $4,000. So Jim Bowser, the photographer, says, that's great. Trestle's going to do that. I go, I haven't even talked to him. So this is Jim Tressel getting ready to play the night. So I email him. He said, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
So they're leaving the day after Christmas for Arizona. This is the day before Christmas Eve. It's not set up yet. I said, Jim, I'm probably going to get fired. So we don't have, this isn't done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a call in the newsroom. Tressel says, can you come to the house Christmas Eve morning? We'll do the interview there. I don't want to do it on campus because those Columbus guys are going to be like, well, you didn't give us a one-on-one.
Yep.
So my photographer and I go to Jim Tressel's house, living in a regular neighborhood.
Yeah.
After we won the national title, he had to move out of that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Go do the interview. And my photographer always used to go, I hung out with Jim Tressel on Christmas Eve. But I knew he wouldn't let me down. We did the one-on-one, great. We interviewed the guys from Columbus Media before, did an hour special. We were in Arizona. He didn't need to do that. I thought he would do that for us. But he's always been there, always returns calls, always returns emails, and he just doesn't forget. I was sweating a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we're promoting this show. One-on-one exclusive interview with Jim Tressel. I'm like, we don't have it.
Might need him to give you a job afterwards.
And then they beat Miami, win the national title, big upset, and what a run he had at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Not letting anybody down, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
right.
No. And now, I mean, the whole landscape of college athletics looks very different. I mean, we've had a lot of exposure to this through the Penguin Collective, and Will and I working with the university and setting up their NIL programs and trying to really lead the charge in their division and try to get them in the right position. But it's just happening so fast, and it's changing the landscape of the sport. I mean, you see now Carson Beck playing. He's in the same draft class as Jackson Smith and Jigba and some of these guys that are stars in the NFL right now. And he's in his seventh year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Van Wilder of college sports. I mean, but it's changed so drastically now where these guys, Shedeur Sanders in the same boat, where he's making less as an NFL quarterback as he was playing in Colorado. And same with Carson Beck. Like he's a stud in college football, but he may not be that big of a deal in the NFL.
Right.
So like get as much out of the thing as you can before you go. So like there's goods and bads. The bad is that a school like Youngstown State University, luckily they've been on the edge of this and they've learned how to do it and they're adapting pretty quickly. But you see the amount of money that the Ohio States and Texas and Texas A&M are dumping into NIL right now. It's going to continue to be difficult to compete. The good news is that those bigger colleges are likely recruiting these kids that have been playing for 3 years. They're a known commodity. They're going to pay them. We can still be good if we're recruiting young kids straight out of school.
Tim, it is. It changes every. Tomorrow will be different than it is today. So I would have said a year ago that YSU needed $250,000 to compete. If they want to
in football
specifically,
only.
if they want to win a national championship and compete, they need $1 million now. Think about that.
Yep.
They need $1 million if you're going to compete with the Dakotas and Montana and Montana State.
Yep.
That's insane. But that's what we need if we're going to go from just making the playoffs and maybe beating Yale or battling Duquesne. If you really want to go after the Dakotas, and you're going to need $1 million at Youngstown State. What I thought where I was wrong with this NIL is that the same teams would win the national title every year.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State, Texas Tech has so much money, Texas A&M. But it's sort of refreshing that two teams this year playing for the national championship. Indiana, right? Who thought that? Miami, we didn't see that. Indiana.
Yep.
So I like that. I like new teams, new faces.
Yep.
I think one of the great things about the NFL, every year you have new teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's created a weird amount of parity.
Yeah, right.
It was unexpected.
So I like that the college, we have a couple teams in the hunt for the national title that we didn't expect.
Even in our FCS this year, when you look at, who was there at the end, it wasn't the Dakotas at least.
The crazy thing? So Montana State spends a ton of money.
Yeah.
Ton of money. Their average attendance is 21,000 a game.
Really?
In Bozeman, Montana.
Yeah.
21,000 a game, standing room only, rabid fans.
Wow.
So they have money. Illinois State is one of the lower end teams in our conference that committed dollars. And they got to the championship. They got hot at the right time, much like we did in 2016 when we lost to James Madison. So it can happen, but to consistently be good, you need the money.
Yep.
You need to be able to go get players. The sad thing is, and more coaches tell me, when Jim Tressel said, when I was in it, players want to know about the coaches, facilities. Facilities are big. Who are you going to play? Now it's how much money.
Yeah.
And that's the same. So if you're going to get receivers to play with Bo Brungard, they want to play with Bo.
Yep.
How much are you going to pay me?
Right. Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And you need to adapt. You need to change.
Yep.
I think in leadership, you always need to be adapting and changing or you're going to get stuck.
Yep.
And I think as a head football coach now, if you're not a fundraiser, you're probably going to struggle.
No doubt about it.
You have to have someone on your staff
on your
who's
team.
going to do it
Yes.
for you. Yeah.
But if you're going to a YSU football event, you want to see the head coach. He better be able to tell the story. He better have the passion, better be able to articulate. They don't want to see the assistant coach.
Yep.
They don't want to see the NIL guy. They want to see you.
Yeah.
Same with Ohio State. If you're giving big money and you're going to an event, Ryan Day better be there.
No doubt about it.
Because we love assistant coaches, but fans and donors want to see the guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the deal now.
Yeah.
100%.
I think it's funny at Ohio State, Ryan Day wins national championship last year and, barely escapes with his job because he didn't beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Right?
This year we beat Michigan, get bounced out of the playoffs, and there's not as many people crying for his job. It's like I think in Columbus, it's more important to beat Michigan than it is to win a national championship.
So one more story since you bring that up. I'm at the 2002 national championship game doing previews. Earl Bruce, former Buckeye coach. Mm-hmm. I said, Coach, is this game tonight more important than beating Michigan? Young man, when you're in Ohio, there's nothing in the world better than beating Michigan. This is not bigger than beating Michigan.
And that was a huge upset, too.
I thought he was going to beat me out.
Yeah.
Okay? So Tim's point, Buckeye fans that I know, they're not okay with losing to Miami, but we beat Michigan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. I think it's a real thing.
Yeah. Beating Michigan, like losing 4 years in a row to Michigan. Had Ryan Day not won the national title last year, I think he'd have survived. Mm-hmm. But he lost to Tennessee in round one. They can't stomach it, losing to Michigan Buckeye. And I'm not a graduate of Ohio State. I'm an Ohio State. I'm a YSU fan, but I root for Ohio State. My daughter went there. So my daughter's a grad there.
Yeah.
And she said the same thing. Yeah, I know we didn't beat Miami, but we beat Michigan. It is crazy, isn't it?
It doesn't make sense to me, but I get it. I understand it. Oh.
And so is this Melinda?
Melinda, yeah.
And so you've got some athletics that have happened in your house here now, too. I mean, you've been passionate about sports. Melinda was a golfer.
Yes.
Competed in the state high school tournament.
Yep.
Is she still playing sports? And what's the family dynamic at home?
So my daughter
sports?
Melinda golfed. She went 3 years to state. Came second 1 year, lost by a couple strokes. She still does. So what she found out is coming out of college, the company she works for is a major parking garage company out of Columbus, and she hires HR. They're looking for a fourth one day. Belinda, you ever golf? She goes,
I'm not bad.
Occasionally.
Well, you're hitting from the red tees.
Uh-huh.
It helps you.
Oh,
helps you in business. So she still golfs for work and for fun, and she lives locally, just had a baby, got married. So I told her, listen, after you're done playing, competitively, you're going to want to do this. So she was going to go to John Carroll and golf, and said, let's go visit Ohio State. She's not good enough to play there, just for fun. 5 minutes into the tour, she's going to be a Buckeye. I could see it. I could feel it. I could sense it.
Really?
And she went to Ohio State as a student. Best thing for her. But golf's the kind of thing, and you ask about that, it can help you in your career. It can help you in business. Network, right? Yep. So she does. She does for fun.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been to get 4 hours with another person. Yes. You're going to learn a lot about them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You learn a lot about somebody when you spend 4 hours on a golf course with them. You learn how they handle the game of golf. You learn, how they communicate. You like the music they listen. You understand the music they listen to. You get to talk to them about their family. Like, there's very few situations where you have the opportunity to truly spend one-on-one 4 hours with someone, especially busy people in the world that we live in. You're meeting with leaders of businesses. You're meetings with leaders of the community. You're not getting a 4-hour meeting with somebody. Mm-hmm.
Tim, you nailed it. So if I'm going to meet with a CEO or I'm going to come, I got a half-hour bar.
Yeah.
It's in a boardroom, right?
Yep.
Go golf, 2.5 hours, even 9 holes, right?
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yep.
Learn more about each other. Talk about your lives. You might not even ask for a gift from my perspective. By the end of the 9 holes, you hope you get, but you can't get that kind of time at a regular meeting. So if you connect on the golf course, and you hit it off, you get time with people that you would never get, and you learn about them. You see what makes them tick, what their interests are, where they may like to, support you, and where their funding may want to go. But you said it well. To get someone on the golf course, if you find out they like to golf, that time's more valuable than maybe a half hour in a boardroom.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That job interview process is always fun. Take those prospects out and see how they interact. Probably not throwing their clubs yet, but pretty good indication of passion there at times, right?
So, you've gone through this remarkable career with, the news station, and then continuing to broadcast with YSU football, and now you have this whole second career and this whole second, point of influence in this community where you're influential in a very different way with the broadcasting gig, and now you end up as leading the United Way. So let's talk about this transition. You know, why? How did this all happen? Like, how do you go from being a sports broadcaster and being dedicated to this from the time that you were 12 years old to the time that now you're looking at this and saying, time to go on a completely different path, and I'm going to go lead the United Way, and I'm going to start that charge. You know, what happened at that point that made you make that transition, and why did you take the leap?
So in 2007, I'm sports director, Channel 33, Love and Life. We went through a merger. We were sort of the acquired station.
Okay.
So we move in with WKBN, WYTV. I like being the boss. I'll be honest, okay? And since we were sort of the acquired station, I had a job. A lot of people didn't have a job, but I was no longer the sports director. And the guys that I was working for, great guys, just philosophically, we disagreed a little bit on how we wanted to cover sports and proceed. So, you know, as fate would have it, Dave Core, the general manager, great guy, says, hey, you and Boney got to do this telethon to help United Way raise money. They're not going to make their goal. So we do the telethon. They make their goal. So Don Keegas, the CEO, he tells me he's thinking about retiring. This is probably in December of maybe 2007.
And Don was a remarkable human being. He
great
was the
guy.
President of Chase Bank here locally for many years. Really impressive human. So following in his footsteps, not an easy
So
thing.
I'm driving home that night. I'm like, what's it take to run a United Way, I wonder? So I called Don, invite him to lunch, and he says, sure. I didn't know what it was about. And he said, wow, I thought you wanted to talk about the rally for the Valley for United Way. He goes, you know, I was a banker. My predecessor was more of a social worker. Different backgrounds, but I think we have someone internally we're going to hire. But we're probably not going to advertise for the job until June. This is January of 2008. So I start doing some digging, and I see some United Way CEOs are marketing people. Some are bankers. Some are totally nonprofit. So I visited some United Ways, Scranton, PA, Allentown, PA. Really good United Way, especially the United Way in Allentown. So I'm going to apply. So I had some people in town that I knew, made some phone calls. And the board told me initially, we just did it as a courtesy to your friends, that there were 3 piles. Interview, maybe reject. You started on reject.
Wow.
Why are we going to hire a sportscaster to run United Way?
Right.
So thankfully, some people got me the interview. I thought United Way needed to change. They were doing good work. Campaigns were starting to go down a little bit. No fault of the leadership.
Well, that was a tough time too. That 2008,
Yeah.
2009,
And then less
right.
companies working. You know, less people. Not as many people here as there were 20 years ago. So
GM and Lordstown eventually.
but worldwide, United Way worldwide, not to get too deep in the weeds, was going through a transformation. Felt United Way needed to be more. We needed to change the model. It's like the only way I'm going to get this job is if I articulate a clear, different path. So I went in. I said, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to keep losing dollars. Campaigns are going to go down.
This is in your interview.
Yeah. I said, here's what I think we need to do. And I said, and by the way, United Way Worldwide embraces this. Brian Gallagher, the head of United Way Worldwide. And I said, good United Ways who I visited are changing the model. Risk, yes. Reward, yes. I got a second interview. So it came down to me and the internal person. Close call. Blessed to get the job. And I did all this work. And the first 2 weeks on the job, I'm like, I'm lost. I'm like,
it's never as easy as
they're talking a forward language here.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing from the team, well, this isn't how we do it. So one day after a month, I says, this is the way we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I said, because I don't want to be brash, but they hired a sportscaster to run United Way. They want to make change.
That's right.
So we made change. But Will, as you said, I started in September of 2008. That's when we had the financial situation.
Yeah.
We were trying to raise $2.5 million. We raised $2.2 million. I'm like, this isn't good. Don Cahigas calls and goes, I don't know how you raised 2.2. Great job. Give me a boost of confidence, right?
Yeah.
So we've changed the model. I think we've become more impactful. I think we took time, to have enough dollars to change the model, lead some of our own initiatives, some of our own programming, putting the staff around me that sort of philosophically saw things as I did. But it was a risk for that board. I'll always have a debt of gratitude to that board of directors that took a chance to hire a sportscaster to lead a major nonprofit. Love it. I love the TV. This is way better. Yeah. Really, it is. It's more impactful. We're helping more people. I think we're doing some good work in the community.
Well, I know you are. I mean, Bob, I've seen the transformation firsthand. When I started working with United Way, it was March of 2009.
Right.
And so I've seen what it was like when I first led my organization with the campaign and everything to what it is now in 2025. It is very different. It's very special. And I mean, when was the last time you didn't hit your goal? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the only time. Maybe your first year, first couple years.
So from 2010 on, we've hit our number.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
This just speaks volumes of our community. My first goal was to raise $2.5 million. We're now raising this campaign. We're going to raise 3.9, and that, in most of the money we used to raise was workplace giving. GM was the #1 campaign.
Yeah.
Northside Hospital was #2.
Yep.
They're gone.
They're gone, and you're still raising.
Yes, because we've diversified our revenue streams. We've engaged people like you. We want you to know but we used to go out on campaign and go, we need to raise $3 million. We don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Here's the work we're doing.
Yep.
Here's the people.
Yep.
And I've sort of changed my philosophy. The money will follow the mission if the mission's impactful. So we just talk about the work now. We don't talk about
sometimes if you set a limit, you limit yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you go to somebody and say, I want to raise $3 million and you're at 2.9 and they stroke you $100,000 check, great. But what if they could have written you $1 million check?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now you guys have now had enough time to prove the results. That's the biggest part of nonprofits that I've always struggled with is when I donate my money somewhere, I want to see it doing something. Yep. Like I don't want it to just go into some black hole, into some black pit of not ultimately doing something, just accumulating reserves somewhere. Like you guys are putting this back out in the community. You're doing great work with whether it be the Success Before 6 or all the different programs that happen throughout the year. It's visible. And that, to me, is where the media kind of thing
most business people want results, right? So if you ever wanted to come see a care closet, let's go. Saturday food distribution, after school. And then I think the most people that come see this, whether they're a current donor or a prospective donor, if it's a current donor, they're going to renew or up their gift. Prospective donor probably going to give. So I know when I bring you to see the work, it's not like I'm going to be sweating like, oh man, this is going to be a bad day. Now he's really going to see.
Worry.
Yeah. So I know we're producing. I know we're getting results. I know we're impacting families and lives. Just like when we had this Phoenix house explosion in Austintown. I was at Northern Iowa with YSU. Within an hour, Roxanne and Tina on my staff were there. And I knew they would handle it. And we've got these people now in a hotel. We've been feeding them and getting them housing. And these are the people that United Way needs to support and make sure they feel cared for and loved and taken care of. So I do feel good about the work and the impact that we're making in the community. And the biggest change really from 2008 to now, back then, the only volunteers we really had as we funded agencies that do good work was the board. Now we have a volunteer base of 500.
Wow.
From age 7 to 87 that we can tap into. When
Well,
we do our food the third Saturday of every month, we have 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds,
That's
80-year-olds. To get those high school groups to volunteer and keep coming back, they're the next generation. That
And
really
now
makes
it's
us
normal
feel
for
good.
them. Now it's something that's been ingrained in them from an early age is that this is how society works. You give back, you volunteer, you do the things back to your community. And when they experience that at that early age, they're thirsty for it.
Yes.
Forever now.
Well, I mean, I know my wife is a teacher in Camel, and every opportunity she has to bring her students along with her, especially the Saturday of caring, passing out the food, packing the bags. I mean, they're there every opportunity they have, and it's amazing to see how many people come out too. Sometimes it's almost too many, right?
Yes.
You get it.
And one day, in our volunteer center's packed during the week, one day Will's wife brought like 8-10 students. And they're sweating. They're working. They aren't, we got out of school. We're going to hang out and eat some potato chips here, eat some donuts. And we got donuts for them, but they had to work for them, okay? So that's the impact.
It's special. It really is.
I feel good about it. I feel good about our team.
And you go home. I mean, she talks about it. The kids talk about it afterwards. It's not just a one and done. They look forward to it each month.
That's great.
And so we're coming up on, it's 2026, so we're rapidly approaching 20 years of work with the United Way. What is something that you can point to specifically in the United Way that you're most proud of in that tenure of time?
I think when I see young students who we've worked with, when we began the after school, that were in kindergarten, that are now in high school or college, and they come back and say, that got me on the right track. They set me on a good path.
Yep.
There's a young girl, Paris, now in 8th grade, and I got a picture of her on the phone. We started with her in kindergarten. Like, I don't know. So I met with her over Christmas because I try to get her something every year. So next year, she'll leave Youngstown Community School. Mm-hmm. She said, Mr. Bob, who's going to keep an eye on me next year when I leave here? I said, Paris, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Paris is going to go to a good high school. When we first started with her, she wanted, I'm going to be like my mother, a waitress. She said, now I'm going to go to college.
Wow.
I think I want to do like human resource and work with people.
Yeah.
And I feel we had some impact on Paris. And we will follow Paris in high school.
Yep.
Just because our work ends in 8th grade, we'll help you. We'll be there. So we've seen a lot of children and families that we've been with now for 8 to 10 years have success. Mm-hmm. Not all have gone to college. Some have gone into the workforce. So I see that's what's, to me, these young children that we started with that are now in high school or college that are being successful. Some are coming back and volunteering. That's what we want.
Yeah.
And
you're breaking a cycle.
We're doing our best.
I mean, that's the generational poverty cycle is a very real thing. Mm-hmm. I was exposed to it early in my life. I've seen people exposed to it throughout their lives. Every day there's something trying to drag you back into that. Yep. There's something trying to drag you back into that generational poverty mindset, which ultimately comes back to blame and ownership, right? Is that you just feel that there's nothing you can do to make your life better. You can't get out of that cycle. You can't be successful. You can't get away from this, that, or the other program because the world's out to get you.
Yep.
Right?
And you hear that. Well, we don't go to college. That's not what my family does.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, maybe. And then you visit YSU or you take them and then they start thinking a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And, in most of the families we work with I think some myth, they're good families. Mm-hmm. They want better for their children.
No doubt about it.
So they want their children to succeed. They want them to have a good education just because they didn't and they made mistakes. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of good families we work with in these tough neighborhoods and these tough schools. So that'd be the thing I'm most proud of. And we've had kids like, he's got no chance. Next thing you know, he's graduating from Ursuline or Mooney or Youngstown, and he's on his way to college. And it's 5-6 years ago. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think they're going to make it.
Well, I mean, it's hard to see it. I mean, when you interact with some of these kids, that all the deck is stacked against them.
Yes.
I mean, I know that the way that I grew up, there was statistically, there's no reason that I should be in the position that I'm in today. I mean, I should be stuck in that mindset. I should be stuck in that, whether it's drugs or it's this, that, or the other. But I had one or two people that stepped up for me at that right moment in my life where I was in high school and I was going down the wrong path and I was doing the wrong things. And they stepped in and said, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?" Mm-hmm. Right? And that's what United Way continues to do in these programs is just be that person that these people don't have access to. When you're raised in the inner city school system and that's the only thing your family knows, all it truly takes is one singular person to make a drastic difference in your outlook on life. And I mean, I'm glad to hear that that's your thing. That's the one thing you're most proud of, because that's like a drastic butterfly effect, is that one of those kids that you broke through to and they changed their life, then all of the people around them that are stuck in that same realm can look at them and say, well, this person got out.
How'd you do it?
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
how'd
that
happen?
I could do it too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you create a little bit of hope.
Yes.
Because that hope is what ultimately keeps people in that generational poverty mindset, is that if you don't have hope, you're screwed.
You're done. Yeah. And I think some of the programs we've done have been creative and innovative. And, we just started this with Anthony Vross from Simon Roofing. He's a big baseball guy, taking boys in the after-school programming to play baseball at the Dome in Struthers. So why? Well, one, inner city kids don't play baseball anymore.
Yep.
Look at the major leagues. It's Dominicans and mostly, white baseball players. But we're not taking them just to learn to play baseball. Leadership, teamwork. And we tell them, they love it. Okay, they didn't even know how to hold a bat.
Yeah.
So we've been in it now about 8 weeks. But if they're not on school on time and they're not behaving, they're not coming to after school baseball.
Yep.
So now we're getting kids behaving during the day and doing better because they're learning how to play baseball. Okay, great, learn how to play baseball. But it's showing them that if you do the right thing here, we're going to do things for you wouldn't be exposed to. We've taken all these second graders in Youngstown and teach them how to swim. Those kids aren't exposed to water.
Yeah.
It could save their life one day, right?
Yeah.
It's just something we're probably used to it, or our kids are used to it. So those are the things that I think we're most proud of.
But there wasn't much access to. I mean, when I grew up on the west side of Youngstown, we had Borts, swimming pool on the west side of Youngstown, and you'd swim in Borts, and the bottom of the pool was not painted, so it was just a concrete base of the pool. So it literally looked like you were swimming in a pool of mud, right? But that was the only pool we had.
Yeah.
So that was the pool you went to, and I remember the first time I didn't go to the ocean until I was like 23, 24 years old. And I went with a friend's family who took me on their vacation with them. And I remember walking onto the beach and I'm like, what the hell is this? Where's all the rocks? Because the only beach I had ever seen in my life was Lake Erie. You know what I mean? And
it's a little different.
A lot of these kids, they don't even get to see Lake Erie. So like that perspective, that shift and that mindset of like there's more to the world than what we see in front of us is quite remarkable.
Growing up in Newcastle, our big summer vacation, go to Idora Park.
Yeah.
It was the best. Wildcat, right?
Yep.
The jackrabbit, the French fries.
Yeah.
These kids today, we're going on vacation, but I always kid my kids, and you want your children to do better, right? They're going to Florida or they're going to, wherever they're going, North Carolina, South Carolina. We didn't do that, but listen, I'm glad because you want the next generation or your children to always do better.
Just that new experience, the opportunity to be out there and experience something that you didn't even know existed, right? Yeah. It just sparks this mentality of, what else am I missing out on? Like, what else can I ask about? Or you just, a lot of times you shut up. I know when I was young, that's what I would do. I'm like, it's not for me. I don't know. I'm kind of afraid of something or this or that. But you talk to this person who gives you a little bit of insight. Like, you can do that. Yeah. Like, it's not really? Why me?
Like our after-school programming, we do some academics, but we don't focus on academics. Academics are day side. If we take young children, K-2, K-3, and just do academics and after school, one, they're not going to come. They're going to fall asleep. But we tell them, you do the things right during the day, and we tell their parents, you get your children to school on time. We're going to do all these other things. STEM playbook. We have a program that's awesome. There's a STEM learning. We take them to learn how to swim. We do the baseball program. So the incentive is do a good job during the day. We're going to come here and help you with your homework. We're going to do, but we're going to do fun stuff. But the hard thing is the tough love. We've had kids cry that couldn't go on a field trip. It breaks our heart. But we were determined that if you don't do what you need to do during the day, you're not going to experience the things. We want to expose children in the valley that all children, the Canfield and Poland kids get to experience. So that's sort of our focus with the work we do in after school. Don't drill them and grill them just with academics. Expose them to other opportunities they might never have.
Well, that to me is teaching them what they need to escape that mentality. Because that mentality of generational poverty is that someone has their thumb on me and I can't escape from it. It's the man or it's this, that, or the other, or some other reason that someone doesn't want me to be successful. But what it does is it puts that back in their hands and says, you're in control. If you want to be successful, if you want to have a good life, you can do it. So you're starting with this very simple, basic thing of do well in school and you get this. And you're retraining their brain because their brain has never been trained that way their entire life. Their brain says, no matter how hard I try, I'm going to fail. And by coming in and creating a program that way, it's the exact opposite of what they're accustomed to. It's the exact opposite of what their parents maybe have told them, or what their community has told them, is that no matter how hard you try, someone's going to stop you from succeeding. And I mean, that to me is something that's just, it's special. It's something that's special about our community. It's something that is going to be the reason that Youngstown continues to evolve in the way that it has evolved over the course of the last couple of decades. And I can't help but think that, I know there's some alignment between you and Tressel in terms of an influential person that has kind of inspired your leadership philosophy. And John Maxwell comes to mind. Mm-hmm. And I know Tress has done, a tremendous amount with Mr. Maxwell, and he's an amazing author, and he's, a very great self-help inspiring person about leadership. I mean, what are the things that you've learned along the way from Maxwell that you've been able to
It's interesting you bring up Maxwell. So I'm a big John Maxwell believer in his philosophy. So early on, and I'm glad you brought that up, we had a donor, Greg Smith at that time from Comco Industries. He took me on a Maxwell event at St. Thomas Virgin Islands, which, I'm in. I'll sign up.
Yep.
So there were like 100 of us with Maxwell in a conference, mostly CEOs, corporate leaders. I was like the only nonprofit. 3 or 4 days, philosophy, belief. And I was reading Maxwell books anyway. I believed in his philosophy. I think you need to engage people, bring them in, be honest, be sincere. I've read most of his books, and I got a chance to spend some time with him about leadership and philosophy. And he shared with me, he would speak to the Ohio State teams, sometimes before the Michigan game. So
the only game that matters.
Yeah, right. Apparently. So he, it's sort of like this guy. Maxwell's not for everybody. But I believe in his leadership style. Someone else may like somebody a little bit different. But from a culture standpoint, we tried to build that kind of hiring at United Way. And that was a great experience to go on that trip and spend 3-4 days and hear Maxwell and his team and his philosophy. And same with Coach Tressel. Coach Tressel, I mean, he's just, like he had his thing and you were going to do it. Yep. Like I'll give you one other. If the bus was leaving at 2:00 to go to the game from the hotel, it was leaving at 2.
Yeah.
If the All-American linebacker wasn't there,
it was leaving at 2.
It was leaving at 2. Mm-hmm. We were going to a national championship game. I won't mention his name. An All-American player didn't make the bus. He had to drive down with his dad, the bus to the airport. Now, he could have got to the airport in time to get on the plane, but since he wasn't on the bus with the team, next day, he didn't play the first half.
Wow.
He's an All-American linebacker.
Yeah.
He had 15 tackles in the second half. Okay, this is a true story. Yeah. Had he played the first half, that was 1992. People watching, I know who that is.
Yep.
We probably would have won.
Really?
But you were going to do it a certain way and had a belief and a system. One more, we're playing at Northern Iowa in the playoffs. 1992, they were good, and they're warming up and we're warming up, and their uniforms are on a bit sloppy. He told me after they weren't put together, they weren't disciplined.
Yeah,
they had their jerseys out, they wore different socks, and to him they weren't tight. They weren't where they. That's Jim, believe it or not. I mean, he had a certain way, and they just weren't disciplined enough, and like wow. But, to me, he's probably been the most influential person I've been around and really helped me more at United Way and trying to build a team and leadership than in broadcasting. Because then it was just a weekend sportscaster and me. And when I started United, I had a full-blown staff.
Yeah.
And I got to hire and I got to lead these people, and they're looking to me for guidance. So, I needed help. Mm-hmm. I needed help.
So what's on the agenda for 2026 at United Way? I mean, we know about a handful of the events that you've got scheduled, but for those that are listening, what are the things that are coming that you want people to know about? You want people to participate in? You want people to be on their radar? I mean, I know that Will and I had a blast at the polo event, and we plan on being there.
Can't wait for that again this year.
John Daly golf event that has always been a great the locker 1 and 2 outing. Yep. But what else are you guys working on? What are you cooking up that you want to tell people
So
about?
we want our events to be fresh and find what younger people, older people, what appeals to you. May 11th, our Champions Dinner. We're bringing in Bill Cower.
Bill
And
Cowher.
we're excited.
That's a big
Yeah,
deal.
man.
It's a big
That's
name,
one.
and it's
Yeah.
a big one. It's a good one for us, and each
For
year
all you Steelers fans.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
We'll see how tonight goes.
Yeah. And then we have Locker 1 and 2 back with John Daly. We have a Rocco Mediate golf outing. We're going to continue polo. We learned from the first year. We're going to be bigger and better. And again, new audience, new event.
Yep.
Something that's not come to the Valley. We do a celebrity bartending event in October. It's crazy the money we raise, but it's camaraderie.
Yep.
We bring new people into the tent. They learn about United Way. So we're always looking to tweak and fine-tune our events and try not to let them get stale. Those are some of the big events that we do. The nice thing about like a Champions with Bill Cowher, you might get Steeler fans that come that never gave to United Way. We take 10 minutes to tell our story.
Yeah.
Every year, it seems like at Champions, we gain 1 or 2 new donors. We have a $50,000 donor that wasn't giving to United Way until they came to a Champions dinner 10 years ago and said, man, I didn't know you guys did all this.
Yep.
And they've been consistent every year.
Yeah, it's compounding for however many years after that too. When once they see all the great things that you're doing, they're going to keep coming back.
Yeah, and I tell our team, if you're not changing and evolving, we're probably getting stuck here. We got to keep looking to be better. Care closets are a big deal. These care closets are in schools. They provide hygiene product, food, clothing. We're going to continue to grow that. Teachers tell us these are so impactful. I've learned teachers will tell you what works and doesn't work, and they don't hold back.
Nope.
And they tell us the care closets are so big for these kids because we provide them what they need, and the food's friendly for them. Peanut butter, mac and cheese, Pop-Tarts. They can go home and open them at night. So
And that's newer too, right?
That is.
that
We started 3 years ago with
Yeah.
like 2 care closets, and now we've expanded to over 20. We'll continue to grow those. Some we have, like Austintown has 3 care closets.
Yeah.
So we've hit a lot of initiatives. Some haven't worked. We just don't tell you about those.
Yeah, right. But you have to keep trying.
Got a lot of great things. Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't hit everything right, but just how do we continue to help and collaborate? Really proud when this Austintown apartment thing hit.
Yep.
It was happening on a Saturday. The following Monday, we had 40 nonprofit community leaders in our office. Monday morning. It's not just United Way. It's Catholic Charities. It's Direction Home. And we had the county commissioners getting people. We can't do it alone. We only have a staff of 9. How do we engage you? How do we get volunteers? How do we bring the right people in to make real impact? So we need to continue to do that. And, internally, really lucky to have a small but mighty team that's passionate, that believes in the work, and they want to win. And winning means we're helping the community. The more money we raise, the more people we can help.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to do. And be relevant. Have a pulse. I want when people come to our office or the volunteer center, I want them to think this building has a heartbeat.
Yep.
This place is on fire. That's what we want to do.
Well, you do an amazing job with the board. Everybody is there. They're participating. The people that you get to lead the campaigns overall are always fantastic community pillars too. I don't know how you get some of these people. They're already very busy.
Yeah. So when you lead a campaign at United Way, we are asking you to help us raise money, and you're already busy in your career.
Yep.
So if you can't do this, tell me no now. Don't do it, and you're going to hurt my feelings. We expect you to open doors, make phone calls, and it's usually people that have been giving or believe in the work, and we've been lucky, and we've had diverse campaign chairs. Right now we've got Josh Toot and Jamie Toot the chairing. Next year we're going to lead on the Moran family who own Window World.
Yep.
Great.
And it's just different kind of backgrounds, different people that believe in the work that can help you raise the dollars to make make a difference. And we need to keep diversifying. When I began, 70% of the money we raised was workplace giving. Give out of your paycheck.
Yep.
Now it's 42%. Wow. It's still big.
Yeah.
But there aren't as many companies.
Yeah, right.
That GM loss was huge. I've lost some other companies in the Valley. General Motors was a $300,000 campaign. Wow. And gone.
Yep.
Well, okay, and we're going to sit here and say, well, we got to figure it out.
Yep.
How do we find that $300,000 somewhere else? And fortunately, we've been able to overcome a lot of those obstacles. And I think it's driven by the work.
Yeah. And one of my favorite parts about United Way is that when you're early on in your career, you can't just write a check. That was something to me as we were building our business and we were really, nose to the grindstone, getting things rolling. There wasn't any extra money laying around. It was, what can I do with my time? Where can I volunteer? What little things can I do? What little things can we all do collectively as a group to give back to the community? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I would tell people is that United Way is not just about writing a big check.
Exactly.
There's plenty of ways to contribute, whether it's workplace giving and having a little bit of money coming out of your paycheck that your employer matches, or trying to help get your employer in the door with workplace giving, and then that compounds along the way, or just showing up for volunteer hours.
Yes.
I mean, and handing out food or doing the blood drive. I was out there donating blood at the Senefani Center last month, and there was people coming in and out. They were warm. They were receptive. You wanted to be there. They wanted to be there. I mean, those are just the little things that more and more people need to understand, is that there's a lot of ways to live a good life in this community. But if you don't find ways to give back and be part of your community, you're never going to get to the peak of finding purpose in what you do.
It's not all about the money.
No.
It's volunteerism. If it's not the right time, maybe there'll be another time in your life you can give.
Yep.
But get engaged, and Tim, you mentioned the blood drives have been great. People come to that VRC, and next thing you know, they're donating maybe clothing.
Right.
We've had a lot of people come just for events like that, and next thing you know, they're potential donors.
Yep.
To the work we're doing out there. And the volunteer center has been a great addition. We're so pleased to have our home downtown.
It's a lot easier to pass that food out
indoors instead of out.
I remember how cold at like an after Thanksgiving or right before Thanksgiving last year.
We had pods in the parking lot downtown full of clothing, hygiene product. We had offices were being turned.
Yeah.
Like we got a call from Bombas for socks, right? They call you. We want to donate socks.
Sure.
4,000 pair.
Where do you put 4,000 pairs of
and
socks?
Your basement at home?
Yeah. We don't tell anybody no, because we don't want you ever not to come back.
Yeah.
Walmart's donated. Other companies. Myers, a great partner.
Really?
So what are we going to do here? So we investigated some other United Ways. We went to Milwaukee. They had a volunteer resource center. We sort of followed their model, got a grant, and we're really pleased to have the VRC. We look there now like, what did we do before we had this?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. How did we function?
Yeah.
How long has it been up now?
That'll be 2 years this summer.
Okay.
That the VRC's been up and running.
It's fantastic.
It's been great, and it's a good location.
Yep.
And it's worked. It's been a godsend for us to be able to find. We looked at so many properties and we were devastated, and we looked at buildings, but to get property and build it just how we wanted. Sometimes you get disappointed, but it's a good thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then we found the right property, and we built it exactly how we wanted, and it's been perfect.
It's awesome.
It's been excellent.
Well, Bob, I mean, I think saying thank you is putting it mildly, but thank you for everything you've done in this community. You continue to do in this community. You're one of the many reasons and one of the people that we can look back to as Youngstown continues to evolve in a great place and to be a great place again. People like you are the reason for that. I mean, that the impact of the things that you've done have compounded so many times over at this stage in the game, and you still got plenty of great things that you plan to do in this community.
Absolutely. I want to keep going, and it may be cliche, but I think we're resilient, we're tough. That's why when the tragedy downtown with Realty Tower, then International Tower, and the Phoenix House and COVID, okay, we're ready. Yep. We've had so many tough times that we just fight.
Yep.
And we keep battling, and we keep finding a way to help people. And I just to wrap, Tim, I've been blessed to have 2 distinct careers, both very rewarding. But United Way has been a blessing, and to go from sportscaster to CEO and the board to hire me is almost surreal. But I love it. I love it every day. I love driving down South Avenue to get to that building to work with our team and see how many people we can help in the valley and make a difference.
20 years in and at least 20 more left, right?
Not quite that long. Please. One day I'll be out. I'm sure some of my staff's like, when's he leaving? Okay. Part of the last how many years I work is to build that team to be ready, internally, if someone takes over, or externally, be ready to continue and take it to a whole nother level.
Yep. This was awesome. Yeah. And I mean, we got to sneak it in, but to wrap things up, go Gwins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go Gwins.
We didn't really talk, the Bo Brungard thing. to stay and not go in the portal. And
that's a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's the kind of person he is and his family. But let's go Gwens.
It's time to get Bo on and talk about the decision Youngstown.
Yeah, right.
We'll text him after this.
Thanks guys. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, appreciate you. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for listening. This podcast wouldn't be possible without Stonefruit Studios and Bentley Studios. If you'd like to support the podcast, the most impactful thing you can do is subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and leave a review and/or comment. If you found this episode particularly helpful, we also encourage you to share it with a friend or on social media. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and failing forward.